Hello everyone, I hope you're all well and keeping safe. This is just a quick video, just a few minutes, just to explain a few ideas that we've had to keep you informed and to share a thought or two with you. It's not going to be polished or edited. There's a good chance a child may burst in at any moment, so just be prepared for that. Just want to say a big thank you to everyone who's been helping out and volunteering, both in our wider community. We've had a lot of calls from the Leominster Town Council referring us to people who are vulnerable and ways that we can help, so we've been doing that. And also just within the church, we've had circle groups that have been emailing each other and calling each other, and WhatsApp groups that have been set up to help out. And so that's great. Keep doing that, keep encouraging, being in contact, just keep up to date with one another, just to build each other up during this time. A couple of things that we just want to let you know about that are coming up. In a couple of weeks' time, we're going to take communion. It's one of the weeks where we normally do that. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to ask every person to get their own bread and their own wine. And then on the Sunday evening, we're going to send out a video at a particular time so that we can all gather together, not in one place, but at the same time, and take the bread and the wine. I'll share a little thought as we do that. And for those who can't access the video, we'll send out an order, if you like, a liturgy type thing that will lead them through it, so they too can share in it at the same time, so we can continue to do that together and to remember Jesus in that together. On the Sunday morning, we had been doing James before all this started, and we kind of put that on pause, and there was a thought maybe we come back to it. There's some great stuff in James, some real deep teaching that we could dig into, but it just didn't feel right. Some of the things for this season, there is great things that would apply, but just going through it didn't feel right that it would be a word in season, and so we're going to have a rethink about that. What we might do is a midweek thing, so a devotion similar to a video like this, 10-15 minutes, where we dig into a particular book. Maybe we'll go through the Psalms, that's the other option, but we'll keep you informed about what we do with that. Just a thought for today, really, for you to take away. I was thinking about the situation. Obviously, we're 4 days into this lockdown, if you're allowed to call it that, and one thing that's come across again and again and again is that we are all now novices. There are no experts in this. And I went back to that verse that we looked at a couple of weeks ago in Matthew, where Jesus is talking, and what he says is, "Therefore do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own." And it's that last line that really stuck. Each day has enough trouble of its own. And I guess the word for us, and something I'd like to encourage you in, is just to pace yourself. We're 4 days in. Of course you haven't figured out how to manage your time yet. You spent your whole life doing it a certain way, and now you're having to figure out something new. Of course you haven't worked out where to go and when to go shopping. Of course you haven't figured out how to keep healthy and fit and get movement into your day. Of course it feels odd calling close family when you'd normally just pop round and see them. Of course you can't get your kids to sit still with a craft for more than 10 minutes. Of course you don't know what a subordinate clause is, and you don't know all these things that your children are having to do when they're study. You're not a teacher. Maybe you have a new appreciation for teachers, but you're struggling with that. But of course you are. A few months ago, I think it was, I walked in on a teacher in the church. Nearly touched my face then, that was dangerous. I walked in the teacher and they were marking some SATs exams, and so I took one. I don't know if it's year 6 or 5 they were doing, but whatever it was, I couldn't do it. It was so hard, and so I kind of got my phone out and sneakily answered some of them so I didn't look stupid. But of course you can't figure that out. You don't know what a denominator is or a numerator is, and I guess the word for that is, don't let the tomorrow's worries paralyze you today. That's what worry is. Worry is letting tomorrow's concerns paralyze you now. Of course you plan for things, of course you prepare for things, but there are things you still haven't figured out. Don't let them paralyze you. Don't let them stop you in your tracks. If your kids don't get it this week, then don't go down the line of they're not going to be clever and they won't be successful, and then they won't have friends, and then they won't go to uni, and then they won't have a job, and then they won't have a life. Don't let those things run away. Just pause. Each day has enough trouble for itself. And with all the busyness that you can do and the scurrying, I guess I'll just encourage you today to find, if it's only a minute, just a minute, to humbly sit. Because there's that other passage where Jesus comes to a village, and you know, perhaps if you've heard it in church, Martha opens her home up and her sister Mary sits at Jesus' feet listening to what he said. And Martha's distracted. She's preparing. She's making things. And she says, "God, Lord, don't you care that my sister has left me to do this work?" And Jesus answers in a unusual way. He says, "You're worried and upset about many things, but few things are needed, indeed only one. Mary has chosen what is better, and it will not be taken away from her." And so as you think about today and all the things that may come, find a moment to bring yourself back to that place, the feet of Jesus. Now, I know if you think of that, you think, oh, you're going to float into his presence and you're going to graciously sit with your legs crossed if you're still able to do that, and your eyes are going to flutter as you drink in his words and gaze at his face. But the truth is, you're going to have to force yourself to do it. If you've got children, you know this, trying to get them to sit at the table. Sometimes they will, other times they want to watch the TV, they want to play the games, they want to take the toys with them, and you've got to literally pick them up. Hope social services don't watch this, but you've got to pick them up and you've got to sit them down and you've got to tie them in or clip them in so they don't move. And the same is true of us. You have to force yourself. You have to wrestle yourself to get back to the feet of Jesus, because there are enough distractions that will pull us away. Each day has enough trouble, but there is only one necessary thing. Lots of secondary, still important, but secondary things. But if you get this first thing right, if you get yourself right in your spirit, then all the other things will flow from that. They won't go away, but they'll be put in their place. And you'll be able to address today's trouble with today's grace. And then tomorrow's with tomorrow's, and on and on. Each day has enough trouble for itself. So there we go, just a little thought for you, hopefully to encourage you. As always, if you need help, if you need any advice or any support, please let us know and we'll do all that we can. Again, thank you for all your support and your encouraging emails and texts and phone calls. It is greatly appreciated, and we'll see you soon. God bless.